Okay, so let's continue our discussion with the C++ user input. So we have here an integer x. So the integer x will hold a whole number value. So C out, type a number, then we have here a comment which will ask you to input any number or any value. Then C in for the value of x. So get user input from the keyboard. And C out, so your number will be displayed. So whatever you input a value, whatever number you input will be displayed. So here we have type a number 5 and then it will display your number is 5. So by the way, if you remember your C language environment, so we uses printf and scanf. So printf and cout for C++, printf for C and cout for C++ is used to write something to the screen or show something or display something to the user. Scanf in C and cin in C++ used to take input from the user. Basically, they have the same usage. So next slide, I have here an example of creating a simple calculator. So we have a variable declaration here, an integer x and y, and then integer sum. So since we use as integer, so our output will be whole number. So cout, type a number or enter a number, and then this particular statement will hold a value of x. So we have here c in x, and then cout, type another number, and then c in y. And we have to get the value of x and y. So sum is equal to x plus y. And then cout, sum is, and then it will display the sum. For the output, we have type a number 10 or any number, and then type another number 20. So it will add two numbers that we have entered, 10 plus 20. The sum is equal to 30. So next is we have here basic data types. So the data type specifies the size and the type of information the variable will store. So we have here a column for data type, the size of the data type, and its description. So we have here int for integer, so 4 bytes. So stores whole number without decimals. So like we have on the previous slide, so example 4, 5, 100, 200. Then we have here float, 4 bytes, stores fractional numbers containing one or more decimals sufficient for storing 7 digits or 7 decimal digits. Double, 8 bytes, stores fractional numbers containing one or more decimals sufficient for storing 15 decimal digits. For the boolean or bool, we have 1 byte which stores a value of true or false, 1 or 0. And char for character, 1 byte stores a single character, letter, number, or ASCII values. So these data types are all written in lowercase. So which means that in C++, it applies case sensitivity. So next, we have here an example for the different data types that we have discussed. So we have here include IOStream using namespace std. We have here integer main for the main function of your program, an open curly brace to start your program. So we have the variable declaration int mynum is equal to 1000. So integer is a whole number. Your mynum is your identifier, which will hold a value of 1000. So cout, mynum, which means it will display the value of mynum, which is 1000. So the output is 1000. Another example for a float. So we have integer main, and then float mynum will hold a value of 5.75. And then see out mynum to display the value of the mynum identifier, which is 5.75. So your output is 5.75. For another example for double, so we have int main double mynum is equal to 19.99. So in order for us to display the value of the mynum double, so we're going to use cout mynum, and it will display 19.99. So what are the differences, or what is the difference between float and double? So the precision of a floating point value indicates how many digits the value can have after the decimal point. So the precision of float is only 6 or 7 decimal digits, while double variables have a precision of about 15 digits. So therefore, it is safer to use double for most calculations. So C++ also uses scientific numbers. So a floating point number can also be a scientific number with an E to indicate the power of 10. So if you are going to use or develop a program that will use a scientific number, so you can use this one. So float, F1, float is an identifier. Float is a data type, and F1 is an identifier. So float F1 is equal to 35 exponent 3, and then we have double D1 is equal to 12 E4, and then C out F1, and then again we uses here a backslash n, which means that your output will be displayed on the next line, and then C out D1. So it will display the value 35E3, that's 35,000, and 12E4, that is 120,000. So next, an example for character. So character is a single letter enclosed in a single code. So we have character A is equal to 65, B is equal to 66, C is equal to 67. Since we're only going to display character values, so we have to display the value of A, B, and C. So your output is A, B, and C. Next, we have an example for string. So string is two or more letters enclosed in a single code. So we have integer main. So we uses, aside from include IOStream or the input and output, standard input and output stream, we also uses string. So we have here include string using namespace std, integer main, and then we have here your declaration for string. So string greeting is equal to hello. So basically, it will display the string hello. So we have here output hello. And then next, we also have different C++ operators. So operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. So we have different groups, or the C++ operators are divided into different groups. We have the arithmetic operators, the assignment operator, the comparison operators, the logical operators, and the bitwise operators. So for the arithmetic operators, we use this to perform common mathematical operations. So the common arithmetic operators that we have are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So we also include the modulus, the increment, and decrement. For the addition, so we use the plus symbol. It adds together two values. So from the previous slide, we have added two values. The simple calculator we have discussed previously. So x plus y. So if you have, for example, a value of 5 for x and a value of 5 for y, when you add the two, x plus y, 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. Next, we have a minus symbol here for subtraction, which subtracts one value from another. So x minus y. So again, if we have 5 for x and y for 5, so 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. And then for multiplication, we use asterisk sign for multiplication. It multiplies two values. So x asterisk y. And then we have here slash for division, which divides one value by another. X slash y. Then we have here the percentage symbol or percent symbol for the modulus, which returns the division remainder. So usually we call this um, modulus remainder. So we have x and then percentage y. Then we have here the double plus sign for increment, which adds one value to a variable. So increases the value of a variable by 1. So we have we have plus plus x, and then we have the decrement, which is a double minus symbol, decreases the value of a variable by 1. So we have minus minus x. So we can also use a prefix and suffix for the increment and decrement operators. So we can use plus plus x or x plus plus, minus minus x or x minus minus. So another assignment operator is another operators is the assignment operator, which are used to assign values to variables. So we have the following operators. So we have the equals for x equal to 5. So we have here a column for operator, a column for example, and same as. So we have equals, plus equals, minus equals, asterisk equals, slash equals, percentage equal, and sign equal. Then we have here um, other symbols for equal sign, for assignment operators. And then we have also the C++ comparison operators. Comparison operators are used to compare two values. So we have the column for operator, column for its name, and an example. So we have here the double equal sign, which means equal to, and then exclamation equal, not equal. And then we have here the greater than symbol, the less than symbol, the greater than or equal to symbol, and the less than or equal to symbol. So we also have the C++ logical operators. So the logical operators are used to determine the logic between values or variables. So we have here a column for operator, the name, and the description and example. So we have here the logical AND, then the logical OR, and the logical NOT. So the logical AND returns true if both statements are true, and the logical OR returns true if one of the statement is true, and the logical NOT reverse the result or returns false if the result is true. So we have here some examples of the logical AND. So we have integer main for your main program, then open curly brace for beginning of the program. So integer x is equal to 5 and integer y is equal to 3. So see out, x is greater than 3 and x is less than 10. So you just replace the value of x in this particular example. So is 5 greater than 3 and 5 less than 10. So returns true because 5 is greater than 3 and 5 is less than 10. So that's why our output is 1. For another example of logical OR, so we have here int main, open curly brace. So we have int x is equal to 5 and int y is equal to 3. So see out, x is greater than 3 or x is less than 4. It turns true 1 because one of the conditions are true, which is you replace the value of x as 5. 5 is greater than 3, but 5 is less than 4. So our output is 1. And last is an example for the logical NOT. So we have int main, open curly brace, int x is equal to 5, and int y is equal to 3. See out. So logical NOT, we have x is greater than 3 and x is less than n. So it returns false or zero values because not is used to reverse the result. So you just replace the value again of x by 5. So that's 5 is greater than 3 and 5 is less than 10. So these are the basic concept of C++. So it's very important that we know this particular concept or feature of the C++, so to be able to practice our basic programming. So I am encouraging you all, my dear students, to practice your C++ programming using your C++ environment. Apply whatever we have discussed today, especially the user input and the application of the various operators. Because for our next meeting, we will be discussing conditional statements and conditional statements, the else, the if else, ladder, switch, and the iterative statements or the looping, the for, the while, and the do while loop. So it's very important that you familiarize with the basics of the C++, so that when we proceed with the conditional statements and iterative statements, you will never encounter any difficulty. So if you have any questions, I will be posting the PowerPoint presentation in our LMS. Everything that I have discussed today, I will be posting this. And then if you have any questions or any clarification, you can post your questions through our LMS chat box, or you can also email me if you have any question. My email address is kvdelara. I will write it down. I will write it down. So this is my email address. You can email me kvdelara@edu.ph. So wait. I'll share a screen. So if you have any questions or clarification with um, what we have discussed today, so you can chat me through the LMS chat box, or you can also email me. This is my email address, kvdelara@amaes.edu.ph. So I can teach you other programming, or I can give you other examples of programming. So by the way, you can use the Visual Studio Code And then you can also use the Borland C++ for the applications of the different programs that we have discussed. So if you have any questions, you can ask now or you can email me. So I would like to thank everybody for attending this virtual class. And
Thank you po. Good morning.
welcome. Morning. So you can ask any questions. Chat nyo lang ako.
Meron po ako, ma'am.
Ano po?
May question. Yung sa Visual Studio kasi hindi siya ma-download.
Hindi siya
Kailangan talaga yun.
Oo, para makapag-practice ka. I can provide you a step-by-step procedure for on how to download your Visual Studio Code, and I can also provide you a copy of the Borland C++. Bigyan
Okay
kita.
po.
You email me anak, and then I can send it to you. Kasi
Okay po.
mababa lang naman yung size niya.
Pwede
Or
po ba yun sa mobile? Or
mas better kung sa computer siya para pagka
computer?
nagra-run ka ng program, mas madali mo siyang makikita. So for the
Okay.
every naman mag-schedule ako ng virtual class natin, and then magde-demonstrate ako ng pagpo-program sa C++ environment. So how are you going to write program inside the environment of C++? How are you going to debug the program? Paano tatanggalin yung mga different errors and other stuff pa na meron sa C++. So, better na malaman natin yung concept nito kasi just like C language, it is the mother of other programming languages. So, pagka nakuha nyo itong C++, C language, hindi na kayo mahihirapan for other programming languages na meron tayo. Okay po? So, any question pa? Any question? So again, if you have any question, you can send me a private message through our chat box in LMS, and you can also email me at kvdelara@amais.edu.ph. And I will also share to you this PowerPoint presentation so that you can use it as a reference in your programming. So if you have no other questions, so I would like to thank everybody. Thank you po, Dean Ana, Doc Ana, for this opportunity, and thank you, dear students, for attending this virtual class. Thank you, everybody. God bless. Keep healthy, stay safe, and God bless you all. Thank you po.